Hey guys, still here and welcome back to From the Depths. This might be the last episode of the series, because I made a mistake. In one of the off-screen sections that I was doing, I was farming some more ships, I was trying to get closer to another target. As I was doing it, I unintentionally transited a, I couldn't tell you if it was purple or blue, but it's one of these pure construction zones. Warp plane type alone. This means that when I get out of this sector, the warp difficulty is going to jump. It's going to jump substantially. I'm not sure if the ship is up to that. There are various things that I still need to / want to improve upon. For one, this turret here on the back, it's something that I actually recording building. Then I fired it and it turned out to be poor shit. This is just a terrible turret. It's a dual barrel 500mm gun. And they're actually two separate firing pieces. The issue with this thing is that the shell that it fires is just not good. I've tried various different shells. HE warhead body with armor piercing, with a thumper head. I looked at different designs on YouTube. I just couldn't find something that I was, well, happy with. So this whole thing is gonna go right out the, well, out the hole, I suppose I should say. It's not going out the window. Yeah, acknowledge. Anyway, there are various defenses that I will need to install on the ship to at least prolong my survivability. I suppose we could call it that. Because, well, I don't exactly know what is waiting for me on the other side. But it's probably not going to be terribly happy to see me. Now, what I want to do is build, and I'm looking for a decent spot for it, an anti-torpedo protection. And this is going to be in the form of various weapons that get launched at the side of the hull. Oh, I can sneak them in here, actually. Out of the side of the hull, which distract other torpedoes, or which distract other torpedoes. So incoming torpedoes will get distracted. And I want to have a couple of those on each side of the ship. So a couple of medium missile launchers. Medium gantries. That's one too many. Oh, this one's on the wrong side. This one should be a launcher, gantry, 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 and then an aerodynamic hatch. No, not there. Here. Okay, connect the whole bunch up. And then ensure that it has a controller. Now, they will act more or less like torpedoes, but they're going to be torpedo propellers. We're going to set a ballast tank to have... What if I reduce the float depth? Or actually, no, that should be 0. I want the buoyancy to be -0.1. This way, it's going to go down. So it's going to drag the enemy torpedo down along with it. At least that's the hope. It's going to carry, well, not so much a torpedo sonar, but a missile interceptor head. I want to try and draw this thing towards me as well. So I'm going to set a target, or sonar target simulator. And I won't need an explosive warhead, but I will need a fin. I think we won't need to be terribly quick, because the faster I go, the worse my turning rate's going to be. So I'm going to set them at minimum thrust, which means they'll be only maneuvering at 35 meters per second. Very slow. Thrust duration with that is 302 seconds. If I tell this thing to have a prediction guidance, it's still 293, because between the other parts, we can still sneak in one of those fuel tanks. Now, this is probably not ideal. It does do the job, probably. Let's say this is a torp interceptor. And I'll set those up on the other side as well. I just want to also have an ACB here. And this ACB is going to control the weapon system. So weapon system affected range 2. Fire the weapon when the condition is met that there is an enemy missile, no, torpedo in the water at a minimum range of or rather, no, not a minimum range, at a maximum range of 2500 if I can detect them that far away. Okay, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to head over to the other side of the ship where we should find the other one. Paste that in. And then over here on the launch pad, load the torpedo interceptor and apply that to all the launch pads. We're going to set a simple staggered fire rate on. 0.1 second is fine. And this way the weapons should be ready. Now, armor up the hull again, because I did take out some of the bits here. Now, some of you might have joined the series later and seem to think that I have no armor. I have a spaced layer of armor here. I agree that the AI is not properly armored, and that's something that I'm going to get to right now. So first, make sure that this thing doesn't completely lose its engine. That's not ideal. Point it in the same direction. There we go. This AI happens to be living next to a couple of ammo storages. That is also pretty much a disaster waiting to happen. I'm going to set some heavy armor up around this. Yeah, you're going to have to live somewhere else, buddy. Like this. So this is a sort of citadel, if you will. Or more like an armored box at this point. Okay, now it's considered a separate entity, or at least a separate box. So this water pump is going to keep out the water, but I want to have the same thing over here. No volume available, probably a duplicate pump. Yeah, there is already one elsewhere. But where? Where did I put the other pump? Is this whole section joined together with something else? Is that it? Where's the other pump? At the same time, I don't care that much, so long as I still have a pump here. Alright, so that's my AI armored up, but it can still be susceptible to EMP surges. So we're going to line these walls with EMP surge protectors. And hopefully that's going to work. Now, there is one thing that I have been meaning to test. And I was thinking this up when I started philosophizing about the next series, which is most likely going to be a submarine playthrough. Please don't ask me to do a plane. I am terrible at designing aircraft in this game. Nor do I think they make for very good craft in survival, at least from what I have seen. Or, sorry, adventure, as the thing is officially called. Anyway, I was wondering, can I, if I really want to, turn the Glorious into a submarine? I think it can be done. Where is my... Oh, right there behind me. I was wondering, where the hell's my steering? We're going to set up a PID. I'm not going to go too much into the details about how this whole thing works, because I used to know that back in 2017 when I did the tutorial on how to build a submarine in this game. Believe it or not. But those days are long gone. I'm going to set the output to air pump. Sorry, yeah, air pump. Input, altitude above mean sea level. Enable fake set point. I want to have a depth of, let's say, 50. Can this ship do that? Can this thing sink? Yes, it can. Congratulations. The Glorious is now a glorious submarine. So, if all else fails, right? If all else fails, I can turn the whole thing into a sub. If I want to do that, I will need another PID. And that PID, let me scroll all the way in, is going to sit over here. You are going to be looking at the pitch. And I want you to use hydrofoil angles for that. And I want a set point of nothing. So we're going to use the hydrofoils, at least in the bow, to stabilize the ship. Unfortunately, it seems like I'm still going down. Alright, you know what? Are these things working under... No, they're not working underwater. That would have been too good to be true. Let's go mirror mode. And let's see what happens if I also set up hydrofoils in the back. Because that might be what the thing requires now. Because I'm now looking at a depth of minus 200. From what I know, there is no crush depth. So that's not something that's going to be a problem. But the thing is supposed to not go all the way down. That's the hydrofoil. This is the air pump. Yeah. The set point is here. That's the red line. The process variable, is way below that. Because our actual depth is minus 348. But we're going back up. Sort of. Okay, now. Could I still launch a missile? Maybe. Honestly, I have no idea what's up or down anymore. Is the Z-axis the depth? Yeah. Okay, I think we're rolling all over the place. Screw it, we're full sub anyway. Again, this is not quite what I was thinking I was going to do, but I was just wondering, can it be done? The answer is yes. Is it cheesy? Absolutely. But it could just save the ship. It could. Alright, I want you here. You're going to be a roller preset. And so are you. I'm also going to set up a PID to counteract any roll that I might have. Which should also help with how much the ship is going to go back and... or is going to roll over. Roller preset here. Roller preset there. PID. So control. PID. User are going to be in control of the roll. Take the input for the roll. Then use propulsion roll. And I would actually like no roll. And you can see that these things are now working hard to make sure that the roll gets countered. Again, I couldn't tell you what's up or down. I think this is up. What if I tell the PID to have a set point of minus... Hold on, who are you? You're the air pump one. Minus 20. And I want to get there fairly soon, which is integral time. Derivative is how long it's going to predict it. I'm going to say the derivative is about 15 seconds. Oh, sorry, the integral. The integral is a nice term that says it's going to try and correct all previously integrated errors over the course of the next 2 seconds. Or over the next 15 seconds, in my case. Which is basically how aggressively are we going to pump out the water. Currently, it does not seem to be pumping out much water at all. It's usually a bit of playing around with these PIDs until they work as you want them to. 0.05 for the gain. Then the derivative time, let's say that's 5. Again, I'm just pressing buttons here and hoping that something works. Red is the set point. Green is the process variable. I think we're going back up. No, we're going back down. Huh. Now, if I want to continue my life as a submarine, I'd better make sure that this thing can actually maneuver all right as a submarine. Currently, it does not seem to want to do that. I'm going to have a set point of 900. Right now, it should start pumping that water out very quickly. Let's see if that's actually happening. Wait, this compartment is dry? Is it though? Pump is leaking. You don't say. Total buoyancy is 14,400 cubic meters, but it's all flooded. Yeah, I kind of got that impression, buddy. That might have something to do with the torpedo launchers here. But I think... yeah, there's a duplicate pump here. Since I'm here anyway, I might as well close this compartment up. There is still a bit of stuff that's not entirely closed up. Status report, are we leaking? Yeah, you have a buddy, and that's the guy all the way over here, I think. No, there was another one. Where did I see the other pump? Because right now, these things should all be separate. Ah, altitude. Minus 26. We're almost there. But I think the ship is still counteracting how aggressively it's trying to surface. It's doing that too aggressively, making it very difficult for the whole ship. Oh, that's not good. I should be over there. Now, this is not so much for my submarine capabilities, although for now it is amusing. But it's also to prepare myself for whatever's going to come at me when I exit that gate, which will inevitably happen, probably sooner rather than later. I do intend to do that this episode, so stay tuned. If I get hit... rephrase, when I get hit, I want to have as many bulkheads and compartments as possible so that if one thing starts leaking, the rest is not going to be too badly influenced by that. There we go. Total buoyancy submerged. We're still underwater, but not by much. Right? Yeah. Sit. Sit. Hello? Anybody up there? I am not even sure what I'm looking at. We're still 20 meters below surface. Ah, that explains a lot. We're upside down. Okay. Yeah, with our pushing props, desperately trying to roll the ship around. I can understand why they are having trouble. We'll have to do something unorthodox to fix this. Something rather unorthodox. So, poof. If I just make this side of the ship go farther up, is my theory, I'm going to pull it back over. And it might be working, albeit not fast enough. When in doubt, add more balloons. Poof. I think the ship might be a bit heavy for what I'm trying to do. If I accelerate... Now the... now the thrusters kick in. The jet thrusters in the back. We're diving again. This whole bouquet of balloons that I'm bringing. Oh, you know what? It doesn't have to be serious, this game. So long as you're having fun in a game, I think you're doing it right. Whenever you're trying to min-max everything, whenever you go, oh, this has to be perfect. No, thank you. So, I hope that you're laughing your ass off or having fun with me, because if you're shaking your head in frustration, then I would recommend you check out Lathland or Borderwise or any of the guys who do have more of a clue of what they're doing. Speaking of, I'm going to try and get rid of all these balloons. Especially Borderwise, by the way. Good lord, that man's an expert at this game. He is so good at designing shells and makes it look so easy. It is ridiculous. I have the utmost respect for how he is able to play this game. Right, so are we up or are we down? Well, we're going down, that's for sure. Speaking of underwater systems, I don't even have a sonar array. And that is something that I do need when I come up for, well, for air, eventually. No, when I will run into the inevitable submarine. That's going to be out there waiting for me. So, let's set up a submarine system. Oh, sorry, a sonar system. Sonar 360. There. Let me just get my ship unfucked and I'll be right back with you. One shitload of propellers later, we actually have the gloriously back above the water. It involved a load of thrusters, a lot of PIDs, well, 2 more PIDs, and actually I built a whole beam out to that side to put more center of mass on that side to actually flip myself back over. So, overall assessment, yes, the ship can sink. She doesn't particularly recover well from it, so it's not something that I'm likely to replicate. Now, what I'm going to do is put another one of my railguns on the back, on that little slot that I have made for it. Just want to get rid of this thing, because this is where I used to have, I think, part of my harpoon system. That little turret I had back there. This, by the way, is where that new turret system is going to live. That second railgun. Which means that the capacity for power generation is going to get further tested, shall we say. One railgun is already drawing quite a bit of power, but it doesn't fire particularly quick. The second railgun might cause all sorts of issues. And since I probably won't want to fire both at the same time, I'm going to manually keep control of one and hand control of the AI, or hand control over the other. I'm sorry, it's late. Hand control of the other to an AI. So, let's see, which turret was that? You, sir, are one of the 88s. That's another 88, and this, I believe, is the railgun. Shit. Let's say I want to save this. Save the sub-object you're currently on. Yep, save over that. And how much room am I going to need if I want to build one of those? quite a bit, I think. Now, I do have a fair amount of room down here. I just hope it's enough. It just might be. It's just that the whole turret casing is pretty much screwed. So I'll have to set that up again. But the base parts, I think they might, if I can see, I think they might actually have enough clearance here. Click. No? No click. You're running into something, yes? Doesn't want to sit. That's because I was not actually looking at the hull. That might have had something to do with it. I was trying to put the turret down on the other turret. Of course it won't work like that. Anyway, down here. Hey, we got a new gun. We just have to do quite a bit of maintenance on said gun in order to make it workable. Because right now it is sticking right... No, that's the radar. It's sticking right through the rest of the parts. And that's not really acceptable. I was going to put it on a barbette. But I might actually keep it like this. Which means I need to adjust the deck. And just fix up the, well, the sort of semi-barbette that it's currently in. Alright, a little later, here's the turret. Sitting on the deck, the AI has control. I can maneuver it if I want to. It has a, what you call it, a failsafe, so it shouldn't be shooting up my own CIWS. It has a bit of clearance. I just hope it doesn't get to intervene too much with the CIWS, or vice versa. The CIWS, by the way, should, and I'm just going to check this. No, the CIWS do not have a failsafe yet. So it's entirely possible, if not likely, that my CIWS will potentially blow up my own ship. Oh, hold on. No, never mind. They do. I was looking at the missile controller, not the local weapon controller. Now, there are still some things that I now need to get off the ship, like those extra props. And then I'm just gonna risk it. I am gonna head out of one of these gates and see what the hell it is that we're facing. I only have 22,000 supplies left. 23 after getting rid of all those... Oh, crap. After getting rid of all those props, so I might have met up at 25 or low 26. And that's going to have to be enough until I'm able to salvage some more craft. So, ready or not, here we go. Now, by the way, I know that there are a lot of things that this craft doesn't do very well yet. It doesn't do very well against fast-flying units. It doesn't do very well against heavily armored targets. It doesn't do very well when there are incoming missiles. So yes, there are all sorts of things that can and, well, potentially will go wrong with this craft. But I don't have that many more materials to try and fix them. So we'll just have to make do. There's just one more thing that I want to add, and I know I keep saying that. And that is a decoy missile launcher system here. Not the usual kind. This thing launches decoys, which remain attached to the ship. Now I saw these from Borderwise, and they seem to be working well for him, and also for one of the AI craft. I think it's called a Novogrod, one of those airships. They work in a rather curious way. You have a variable thruster, you have a fin, you have a harpoon. So these things are actually attached to the ship. I'm going to give them a harpoon cable drum. So they're going to have a range of 900 meters. Actually, that's a bit much, potentially. Maybe a regulator's better. Fuel tank, yes. And then we're going to go for, where is it? A radar target simulator. All these things do is fly straight up and provide a 4800 radar simulator signal all the time, so long as they're up, which is a lifetime of 40 seconds. But I'm just going to set these things at very low thrust, because they don't really need to go very quick. Copy to all launch pads and set up an ACB to ensure that these things fire automatically. So this thing's going to start on a timer. I'm going to say that every 1 second is going to try and launch them. When it does, I'm going to fire weapon system, not all of them, just this one here. We're going to test that. I said we're going to test that. One block is controlled. Yes, great. Hello? Oh, crap. These things don't have a cable drum yet. That's why they're not going. So, missile, winching system on both launch pads. Now they should go. Except they're not. Ready to fire. Contains radar target simulator ×2. Variable thruster. The hell? As it turns out, they don't even need fins, by the way. I think that they... I don't know, they were affected by something. I just need to make sure that these winches don't snap. Break cable at maximum length. No. I want to keep pulling on that cable. And here's why. They're supposed to stay above the ship. So they're supposed to go like, hey, yep, like that. Hey, here I am. Target me, target me, target me, instead of target the huge ship that's underneath it. Which is absolutely credible. They might cause a little bit of drag. I don't know about that, but we'll just have to see how that goes. Anyway, we have made it to the warp gates. So here goes nothing. Alright, we have made it through the gate, and more importantly, we are already looking at our first target. I had to wait a little bit for that, but whatever it is in front of us, it's a Clydesdale. Here it is. It's carrying 167,000 materials, and it has a 25,000 material active supply. Capturing is no longer an option. I'm just going to try and blast it apart. That is by far my largest priority. So let's see if my shell can hit, despite the terrible weather. Yeah, it can. And it sounds like I'm not the only one trying to do damage. Activate the mainframe. Large missiles are going out. These two missile hatches, by the way, are not actually filled in. They're more of placeholders, so that I'm going to be using them later. That shell's probably not going to make it. Yeah, I should consider putting a super cavitator on that. Although weather like this is fairly rare. It's not normal to have, or at least not in my experience, to have this much... There we go, this many waves. There's something else that I'm tracking. A second Clydesdale. Oh joy. You know what, I'm actually quite curious. What did they build? What did they get me? Whatever it is, there's shells coming in. What are you? That's an APS shell. Well, that's going to be a good test for the APS defense systems. Let's see what we have. Inbound torpedoes, I think. Or are those heading towards me? I can hardly see. They might be the APS tracers. That is a lot of cannons. It looks like I've already inflicted a torpedo hit of some kind. Seeing the amount of damage that's currently coming off the ship. This was the first hit that I delivered with the railgun. And that might have been a missile or something. Yeah, there is definitely a part of your deck missing here, sir. And these are cram cannons, judging by the build and makeup. So... that means we can take this thing apart. We should just do so in a fairly aggressive manner. Yeah, whatever struck it was probably a large missile. I think that that's what we're dealing with. Oh crap, I cannot generate ammo fast enough. Okay, we need ammo boxes, resources, ammunition box. Because I removed those, and then I was clever enough not to put them back. Let's not put them in the superstructure. Let's put these over here. There. Again, 0 prisoners taken. I just want this thing dead. And I want to start farming it for resources. That's the priority. That's the mission objective. Kill it. With fire. And torpedoes. And railguns. And all sorts of other bad weapon systems that we have. Let's see if that railgun on the back is going to do something useful. No. Why not, good sir? Why not? Because you have control. Hold on. Local up controller. Controlling one weapons. You cannot aim at the target. Is that because you're too... That might be it. Let's say -3 meters. There we go. Now it's eager to join. And I think the combination of missiles and that railgun hit blew it apart. Too badly damaged. Yeah, another 40,000 missile hit. What did you leave behind? 12,000. Don't mind if I do. In the meanwhile, the railgun is hard at work. Trying to devastate the other Clydesdale that's somewhere out there. It is, in fact, so hard at work that, that it's capable of draining most, if not all, of my batteries. That's not really what I had in mind, but it's something I kind of expected would happen. So if I just turn towards the target, and the railgun won't be able to fire, and there you go, it goes back into neutral. Right, so next episode is going to be a lot of combat. We're going to be taking down this Clydesdale, and whatever happens else to pop up. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you really like content, I could really use your support on Patreon. Linked down below in the description as well. Thank you for watching. See you soon for the next one.